If you want to start feeling less anxious, it's fairly straightforward. First, you need to admit that you're anxious and know what the problem is. As Charles Kettering said, "A problem well defined is a problem half solved." Figure out what makes you anxious. Is it stress at work, money worries, relationship problems, or overthinking all the time? Even Marcus Aurelius was feeling anxious by dealing with problems in his marriage. Second, start doing things you enjoy that help you deal with anxiety. You can do deep breathing, meditating every day, and work out regularly. I like to meditate, but you should do whatever makes you feel good and add it to your daily habit. Third, make it a habit to deal with your worry. Being consistent is important for making any new habit stick. You might not be able to do things that help you deal with worry every day, but try to do them regularly. Making big problems out of small ones is a common mental habit that makes people anxious. We tend to make small bad things seem much worse than they really are, and blow things out of proportion. We often feel this way when we're trying to learn something new and hard. Take a moment to remember when you were a kid and first learned to ride a bike or swim. It probably felt impossible, annoying and scary at the time. It probably felt terrible at the time if you fell off your bike or swallowed water. But after a while of doing it, what seemed hard at first became easy. The worries and exaggerations about learning went away. At first, riding or swimming might have felt like a disaster, but now you probably do them without thinking twice. When we face new problems, it's easy to make them seem even harder or think we'll never be able to solve them. But growth is slow, just like learning those skills as a child. What seems very hard at first gets easy if you keep at it. Do not overstate how hard it is. Instead, take it one step at a time. Don't let short-term problems or losses make you anxious as if they were disasters that you can't solve. Keep in mind that your abilities are growing, even if it's only a little bit at a time. You will be amazed at how far you've come when you look back after years of hard work. Emotional reasoning is a bad way to think that can make anxiety worse. This is when we think that our emotions and thoughts are true reflections of reality. We see our bad feelings as proof that something very wrong must be happening. For instance, when you're nervous, you think that something bad is about to happen. Or you believe that you are useless because you feel that way. When you're having a panic attack, you feel like you're going to lose it or have a heart attack. What's wrong is that our feelings don't always match up with the facts. Being worried doesn't always mean there is real danger around. Even if you feel bad about yourself, that doesn't mean you really are. Having a beating heart during a panic attack doesn't mean you're going to die. When you catch yourself making decisions based on your feelings, take a moment to look at the situation logically instead of depending on your feelings. Ask yourself, what solid proof is there for or against this fear I'm feeling? Does the fact that you feel this way mean it's true? It's hard, but necessary, to separate your emotional experience from truth. Even though it feels like the end of the world is coming, that doesn't mean it is. Remind yourself that your thoughts don't always match up with reality. Don't let them tell you how to understand what happened. Another bad mental habit that can make worry worse is thinking in black and white. This means that you only see things in black and white, all or nothing terms. Things can only be good or bad, successful or unsuccessful, perfect or disastrous. There is no in-between. When we think this way, we put things and events into absolute, over-the-top groups. If you eat well for 6 days and then treat yourself on the 7th, you might feel like you ruined your whole week of progress. Or, if you have one bad day at work, you think you're terrible at your job. In real life, most things are not black and white. They are shades of gray. Almost never do things go perfectly or completely wrong. One mistake does not erase all of your past successes. When you notice that you're thinking in extremes, stop and question your categorical belief. Question yourself. Is it really true that there are only two truths here? Or am I missing something important? Does one loss really mean that all successes are invalid? We don't have to overreact when things don't fit our simple binary categories when we look for subtlety and context. Remind yourself that there are many shades of truth, not just black and white. If you keep this open-minded attitude, you'll worry less about having to be great or a complete failure. Labeling things in our minds can make us more anxious by leading us to draw overly simple and negative conclusions about other people or ourselves. Labeling means putting people or things into absolute groups. One example is calling yourself a failure if you don't get a raise, or call someone dangerous if they get mad once. These broad labels use a single rigid meaning that doesn't take into account details. In real life, situations have a big effect on how people act. If you fail at one thing, that doesn't mean you failed as a person. Anger in one situation does not automatically make someone dangerous in general. But when we're scared, we tend to hold on to negative labels that make our worst fears come true. This makes us feel even more anxious because it makes us think we can't change. Stop yourself the next time you catch yourself naming. Think about whether you are ignoring more complicated issues. Different situations make people act in different ways. Find proof that goes against the limiting label. Stay in context and avoid simple categorization. Labels that make you feel bad can be lessened by having more open ideas about who you are and how others see you. Meditating every day is one of the best ways to deal with stress. Thoughts that keep going through our minds get quiet when we meditate. We become aware of the present time. This cuts down on worrying too much about the past or the future, which can make you anxious. A lot of people find meditation scary when they first start doing it. It can be annoying to have to sit still and pay attention for a long time. At first, your mind will keep wandering. It's simple to feel bad about yourself and think you're not meditating right. But, just like with any other new skill, if you keep at it, you'll get better. Just spend 5 to 10 minutes a day at first. Don't try to be perfect. Bring your attention back to the breath slowly when it wanders. It takes practice, but you'll get better at getting into a calm, focused state. Meditation will get easier and more natural for you as time goes on. The thoughts that used to make you anxious will not be able to control you as much. When you train your mind like a muscle, you change its habits and make it less reactive. When you're faced with things that used to make you anxious, you'll be able to stop, breathe, meditate, and then deal with the problem more calmly and clearly. If you make meditation a regular part of your life, you'll find that it helps you stay calm and strong over time. So, if you have been struggling with anxiety, with consistent mindfulness and rational thinking, you can retrain your mind's habits for the better. Stay present, see things as they truly are, and maintain perspective. You may not be able to control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you interpret it.